two separate oil pumps. Quite literally, that's separate from this one. The more horsepower engine makes, the more oil clearance it needs to have, because things are getting out of round. It has made everything absolutely 100% wrong. When it first started up idling with that pressure regulator down, it was making all the pressures. Hey everybody, you are here at Steve Morris Engines working on the wagon. And this is the old oil pump. So let me explain what has always been happening with the engine. Now, this is a Peterson pump. Super good pump. Love them. All right. This is the pressure section right here. Now, what happens in a race only application, race only, this thing starts up 45, 50 pounds of oil pressure idling, 120 pounds of oil pressure going down track. Like freaking clockwork. Every single time. Okay? That's on a relatively cold oil, like maybe 100-degree oil, right around there. All right? Now, when you get 200-degree oil and 200-degree engine tolerances, because this is billet block. Let's go look over here and I'll show you. Billet SMX block, okay? The material grows, it expands as it gets warmer. So our extra loose clearances become even extra looser, all right? So you might be saying, well, why do you need the extra clearance? Okay, point blank, the more horsepower engine makes, the more oil clearance it needs to have, because things are getting out of round. Things are moving. Things are forcing down on these billet main caps so hard it actually does pull the sides in. I did a whole video on oil clearance and how bearings are, when they're all assembled, bearings are not round. That hole, your connecting rod hole with bearing in it, is not round. Mains, when the bearing is in there torqued in, it is not round. It is actually spread out here at the parting lines, because as pressure gets into it, it makes it round. Okay, so typical Pro Mod, SMX, these type engines are going to have like 4 to 5 clearance on the mains, which we know for a fact is opening up at 200 degrees hot. Going down the road is opening up probably to about 6 to 7. And then we'll have 5 thousandths, 4.5 to 5 thousandths of rod journal clearance, which opens up to about 5.5. So the clearances open up so big, but we have to have the clearances to race at that horsepower level. But when you have these great big clearances and really hot oil pressure goes way down. So we're at all these zeros, all right? Got it? Oh, wait, that's on the stop. There you go. 145. Two thousandths bigger. 80-degree temperature, 2 thousandths larger. So now I read your comments from last night's, or from Tuesday night's video, and some of you guys asked or commented and you said, well, how much does the crankshaft grow? Let's measure it and find out. Now, before we go any farther, I got to address one issue. Please don't send me hate mail that you think I'm condescending and over explaining all these kind of things, okay? So what I want you to think about is I'm trying to show things to people that might not know. You might know, and you might go, this is really dumb. You've said this like 4 times, and you're insulting my intelligence. I'm not insulting your intelligence. But not everybody has the same experiences that you might. So there's 100,000 other people that are watching this video that might not know what you know. So forgive me for it over explaining something. It's not because I think you're dumb. It's because other people have no experience with it whatsoever. And they're like, what? I've never heard such a thing before. What'd you say? And it's like, I'm just explaining it. Okay. So that's all there is to it. So please don't send me hate mail that I'm a condescending. All right. So this is actually a broken 481X crank. So this is an identical crankshaft to the SMX cranks. So let's measure it up. We can see here, it is 70 degrees. Okay. 71, 72. All right. Now our size, let's get our mic on here. You can see here, I've already zeroed it. Okay, that is 0. All right, let's put it in the old hot tank and we'll get this thing up to 145, 150 degrees and we'll measure it because the block we got up to 145, 150 degrees. Let's see where we're at. All right, is 143, 144. Almost identical. All right. Now, let's bring it in here. All right, right there. That is 9 10,000ths. So we were at 2, so it grew. So the math all pretty much correlates because iron or steel will expand at half the rate, roughly half the rate of aluminum, blocks aluminum. Okay, we grew 2.2, 2.3 thousandths, as you can see on the bore gauge. This grew 9 tenths, so we'll just round it out, a thousandths. It grew a thousandths, okay? But it keeps on going and the spread keeps on getting more and more. So probably at another, at 200 degrees, it's probably gaining at least 3 thousandths on main clearance main size, and 3.5 probably, I bet you, when it's really hot. And the crankshaft's only going to grow maybe at most 1.5, maybe 2 at 2 tops. The moral of the story is everything is growing, and this is just one part that's growing. The rods grow, the mains grow, the lifter diameter grow, the camshaft clearance grows. Everything grows in it and gets more and more clearance. Why we need that pump. So let's get back over there and get this pump on, test it. So this is the typical 5-stage oil pump from Peterson. A 1.2 or 1.3 section. I can't remember exactly what section this is, but this is the oil pump section. This is the brand new pump. Okay. Now this brand new oil pump, instead of having the pressure section here, so this is scavenge, scavenge, cylinder head scavenge, cylinder head scavenge. Turbos are also scavenged through these 2 fittings too. Okay, so this is oil pan and turbos. This is just cylinder head alone. So what we've got going on here is scavenging pressure. So remember, it takes it from the oil tanks, and I'll go through and show you how these oil tanks actually work. And if you remember on the Better Half Camaro, what happened when it oiled the track on the very first pass, Kyle saved it from going through the wall. I'll show you some stuff there. But now we actually have 2 pumps in one. This is 2 pumps in one. It actually physically has 2 separate oil pumps right here. So now this is a pressure section. This is a pressure section. So it sucks 2-16 fittings instead of 1 from the tank. So this new tank bottom, which is right here, has a single -20 hole versus a single -16 hole. Now they've calculated, Peterson's calculated out everything and says, okay, cool, you're going to do that. Then you're going to put on this Y fitting that they make, and they fabricate these fittings. They're really quite good. I don't know how they. I wish I could do all that, but so here, so this is now going to go 2 fittings, sucking from one big fitting to feed 2 pressure sections in the oil pump. 2 separate oil pumps, quite literally. That's separate from this one, but they do combine at the top to have one single outlet. Now, what the main difference is here is this is the pressure bypass. Notice there is no pressure bypass on it. So we have to use a external bypass, like a fuel regulator, except oil. Now, what makes this much better is this is far superior to that. So this is a good thing to have anyways, but it is going to make me change plumbing, change a bunch of stuff here. So I got to figure out how to change my plumbing. So instead of one outlet just going to my filter, going to the engine, it's going to be, this is going to go to the bypass and might actually go in, out, in, might actually go just exactly like this, possibly, because it's going to be in the front now. Might go here. And then this goes to the oil filter. And this is a bypass that's going to go back to the tank. So this will go to the tank. So this sucks all the oil out of the engine, out of the turbos, out of the cylinder heads. Goes to this -16 fitting. All these sections are open to each other. On this side of the fitting, on this side of the oil pump, this goes to the tank. Okay? This goes to the engine. This goes to the tank. So there's a bunch of stuff going on here, and I have to fit things in the car and change. But this thing is going to now effectively have 2 oil pumps, quite literally, for my low RPM hot oil hot engine. So it's still going to make the same oil pressure. I can just now tailor my oil pressure because now it has more oil pump than engine. Kind of think about it that way. It's more oil pump than what the engine is, or what the engine needs. So it's going to now bypass. So I should be able to. My hope and goal here is that I can have like 100 psi, 100 psi hot, 100 psi cold, 100 psi idling, 100 psi wide open throttle, 9,500 RPM. Within reason. It's probably going to go up on track when it's cold, but that's what I'm really looking for, because currently this is usually about 15 to 20 psi idling, 200-degree water temperature, 200-degree oil temperature. And if the oil temperature gets up to like 220, if we're stuck in traffic or something, because remember, we got to drive the cars. This isn't just some pro mod car that gets pulled back to the pit after it drove for 5 seconds. Okay, this thing is driving for 8-10 hours at a time. It will just significantly lose oil pressure, and I've seen it get all the way down to 10, and it just kind of is what it is. What are you going to do? We have oil coolers on it. I mean, all these things just trying to maintain cool oil temperature. The Smoil has significantly helped. The Smoil is awesome. So that's great, but I still want to get the pressure up. So Peterson custom made this pump for me. It's the only one that I know of. I think this is the first one they've ever made that is 2 pressure sections here. So we are literally doubling the oil pump.
Is this something you're gonna do to the Camaro eventually?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Every big billet engine will have the same problem. They just do. These things that make that much horsepower, you got to have clearance, and then they get hot and they grow, and they just do. Okay. Probably upgrading everybody into a twin pump version after I get this all figured out and running. So now, before we start fitting everything into the car, I'll show you the whole tank situation. So this is the new bottom section of tank. I have to weld in a couple bungs here to mount it. This is the old one. So actually all I got to do is mount that one, stick my oil pan heater on for when it's 30 degrees in Florida in the middle of February.
Which has happened
Or,
twice in the
yeah,
past year.
happened twice. Yeah, last 2 years it was 30s in Florida when we went down there for sick week. So imagine driving your car to the hotel and you wake up in the morning and it is literally 30 degrees outside. You're worried that your car just froze because you're not supposed to be having any antifreeze in them, right? And you got to go out and just start the car up and drive it to the track. Okay. Not a big deal for your Toyota Camry, but it's a pretty big deal for these kind of cars. So I like to heat up the oil then, but then I want to cool down the oil the rest of the time. So that's the bottom of the tank. So I got to put that bung on right there so it mounts up in the car properly. But the top stays the same. If you're interested in this, this is the top. This is oil from the oil pump. Right. Old oil pump, this one went to there. Now the new oil pump is going to be this one right to there. This little guy is going to have to get plumbed to there. So all oil is going to go get returned to the tanks. This is also the primary oil filter. So happy this is out of the wagon. I washed off the oil. There wasn't a speck of anything on it. I was super happy. But this is the oil filter. Okay, so it filters all oil before it goes to the tank, before it goes to the pump, and then I filter it again after it goes through the oil pump before it goes to the engine. So it gets filtered twice. All right, so that's the filter. That's where it's going to go in. This is the oil fill cap, and then this is the dipstick tube. Bing. There you go, dipstick. Okay, now. So we have all this, and I'll explain more of this later as we get going. But the one thing you'll notice is this is how it mounts in the car, in the wagon. This mounts exactly right there. This is actually the vent for the oil tank. This right here is actually where it vents. This tube is the vent for the tank, but this tube actually runs right to here. Okay, so here's how it is in my car. The car takes off, all the oil goes where? Back there, away from that. Never knew, never thought about it when we put it in the Camaro. Let's go look. It's way down here, but here's the vent hose here in the very back, angled backwards. So this is, instead of like this in the wagon, it's like this right here. So it's like that, and it's tipped backwards, and it's tipped this way. It has made everything absolutely 100% wrong. So that is why this particular car, and it works perfectly well, but we didn't know what was going on until we found out the hard way. That's why this line right here goes directly back to the engine. So anytime this thing vents any oil or tried to puke up any oil right here because it was located in the wrong position, it just goes into the engine. Crankcase vent goes all the way to our puke tank in the back of the car on the other side. So it works perfectly well. It's all sealed system. Very nice, super cool, no problem. I'd have to reinvent the wheel to get this to mount and change it all. Which, I don't know, I might do that at some point in time, but right now it just works so well. It's like, why bother? But my car, when this vent is up in the front, this has never kicked out one single drop of oil. It just has been perfect. It just works great. This, that's a problem. So anyways, you can see here how oil comes in, goes through the filter, goes down. Then it comes out through here these two holes. Yeah, these two holes, and it actually swirls in the tank and then gets picked up down here. I think the swirling action actually helps take aeration out of the oil. So there's a lot of science in this whole thing. It's pretty goddamn interesting how this all works. So I'm gonna start putting this all together, and we're gonna start or put it all in the car, and then we're gonna start it up. I know I've only had this car and this engine in here for a million years. I know exactly what it does every time I hit the start button and it starts up and runs. What it makes for oil pressure cold. I'm hoping to see 100 psi cold.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. I got the tank mocked up with my spot here for mounting, and got the oil fittings here to make new lines. So thankfully I don't have to make new fuel lines, because fuel lines are, there we go, are still going right out through here. So that one goes there, and obviously we make these lines red. All lines for oil are blue. Now, speaking of fuel, you probably do not know this, but I do. I only try to tell you guys about stuff that we actually do, okay? I actually use the Upside app to get fuel in this car when we're doing the drag and drives. And the last car, my wife's car, the better half Camaro. And it's really as easy as just go to your phone, go to your app, open up your app. Here we go. This is where we're at, since we're in Michigan right now. And so this is my favorite one that I go to right there. 14 cents back on regular. And now we either get regular for the drag and drive cars, because we just drive them hundreds of miles a day on just pump gas. Yep, regular pump gas. All right. So you sit there. We're gonna go there right now. Bing. Claim, bada bing, bada boom, get the directions. It's only 2 miles away, really don't need directions. Got it. Bing. Now it's going to verify our card. We put it on there, pumped fuel, click, claim, done. It's as easy as that to earn money back. Upside has already given back $1 billion back to its users, which is pretty amazing. So if you want to find out how much you could be getting back, go download that app, go through the whole process. It's all cool. It takes you like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. So it's super easy, but make sure you use code Steve Morris. Once again, use the code Steve Morris. I got this buddy that's right down the road. He goes, oh yeah, I signed up for the app, or for the Upside app. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. I'm saving some, I'm earning money back. It's awesome. I go, oh cool. Did you use my code? No. Use the code. Steve Morris. Okay. It helps us out. Helps them out. Helps everybody out. Everybody wins. That's going to get you an extra 25 cents back for your first fill up. That's a sweet deal. Super easy, super productive, profitable. And they have a restaurant deal too. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't used the restaurant one yet. But they're too busy. We're just jerking around. Probably one of the number one things that I have to focus on doing is remembering to earn money back. Isn't that crazy? I got to remember to use the app. Once you use the app, you earn money back. Use the app, earn money back. It rhymes. It's nice. All right. Anyways, let's get back to this thing. We have the new dual pump on. Dual pump is on. Belt is on. Alternator's on. Yes, it is extremely close. No, it doesn't touch. Everything is packed in here because this is 10-pound scrap and a 5-pound bag. Okay. So I'm going to change some of these lines and fittings down here with the new crimp fittings. And I'm just trying to lay this out so it's much easier. So letting the pan just kind of drip out for a minute, and then I'm going to start making my fittings going to the cylinder heads, and I'm going to finally put the filters in line. These filters right here are super easy to blow through. They're just a really coarse screen just to keep broken material from coming through. Because if you remember, just had broken material go through the better half Camaro and lock up the pump from a little spring tip. We're gonna put these filters, same filters, on the better half Camaro. I have temporary screens in the end of the fitting right now. But here, so I'm gonna cut these because these are the cylinder head, and they're now gonna go directly to here. The cylinder head goes directly to here, but I need to put this filter in line, and then run my 2 scavenges, which I think I'm gonna swap these scavenges around here. And these need to go to pan. So I'm gonna swap some fittings around, try tidying this up here. But I have to make sure that everything fits in the containment pan, because this containment pan is basically, it contains anything that happens. it captures any leaks, it captures any stuff, blah blah blah. Not several times, but that one time that we had the mass exodus, there was nothing on the track. And that's the whole point of containment pans. If anything happens, a loose line, a kicked out rod, haven't happened, any kind of thing like that, the containment pan captures it all. So, but I have to make sure that everything fits in the containment pan. Not inside, outside, the whole freaking deal. So it's kind of a mofo, because my pan comes right through here, and I'm hoping that it doesn't interfere with this one fitting. Yeah. So anyways, let's get to making some lines. Oh, before that, we do have my fitting is permanently mounted, so we need to put the tank permanently together and index it in so I can get that in, because we got 2 -16 pickups now for the pump, dual pump. We got to put everything back together, the oil filter, all that other stuff, primer, and I got heating pads for it, so we'll put a new heating pad on here too. Alrighty, so we're now at the point where RC's over there working on the containment pan, and so I might as well, I want to finish everything up underneath the pan so I don't have to worry about anything back there. So you can see here, we're gonna make these clear for the pan, but while he's doing that, I'm gonna start crimping things together. Let me show you how this works. If you don't know how the crimp fittings work, or maybe any fitting works for as that goes, and I got this really cool tool. Now these fittings swivel, okay? So it doesn't matter where they're at. I always get a swivel fitting because stationary fittings are really hard to work with. So I got this deal because I always wanted to have crimp fittings. The crimp fittings are the best because you crimp this on and it's permanent. Okay, it doesn't accidentally unthread or doesn't pull out, any of that other kind of bullcrap. So it's really, really good. But the crimper machines are like $3,500, $4,000, and it's a big hydraulic thing. You got, it's like so. Red Horse came out with this deal, a hand crimper. Let's see, I got -16 fit in there right now. So you take out, put the appropriate collets in there. This thing is super nice that I've used it so far. Well, that was easier. Okay. Okay. There. Now, our collets are in there. Tighten. And this is a hand crimper that I can take to the racetrack. So check it out. Watch this. Because it would be nice. Bang. Super nice, right? Okay. Take it out. Let's do some crimping. Put the pin in. Okay. Now, I got that fitting all the way down. Very easy. So this is the crimp line right there. So you go just below that crimp line. There's full instructions on it. Right there. Okay. There. Make sure these are level. Looks good. Looks good. All right. Now, I am going to tell you something right now. You got to have man hands because I have really strong grip. And even right, for me, even right at the end, it's like, this is just slightly more than one hand does. Right at the end. Right there. So I give it there. Now, then we loosen this up. I rotate it just a little bit. Come back in. Crimp it again. Like so. Ta-da! Well, that actually turned out really nice. So what that has done is, you know, this has crimped it on. Now we can and will. All of these lines are all suction, so there's no pressure on it. These things would only have suction on them. So I'm really not even potentially worried about it. But you would just go to it and just pressure test it. That is like really nice. And that is permanent. That barb that is in there, once this is all crimped on, it ain't going nowhere. Ain't going nowhere, ain't leaking. All right. And that's pretty fast. I mean, fast and less hassle, actually, if you ask me, because you just saw me put the screw on fittings, because the fittings up there, I would actually have to take the engine out of the car in order to get the other end of those lines, the small lines that go up to the cylinder heads. I'd have to pull the engine out of the car to get those two fittings up there. So it's a engineering miscalculation. Okay, let's tighten this up. Hold that there. Make sure everything looks good. Yeah, that looks good. Looks good. Just below that crimp line. You can see after you get done with about 4 or 5 of these, your freaking hand's pretty tired. But this is something you could do at the racetrack.
You gotta rotate it
anywhere.
Do it again.
Oh shoot! Yeah, I gotta rotate it. If you don't rotate it, it leaves. You can see there's just the separations in the dies. See, I was sitting there talking, Nate. There you go. That's where it was, or at least where it feels like it was. Now it's done. Take it out. Nice. Nice. So, you can come down here. They're nice because you can actually push the lines together. Oh, I need to trim a little bit. Trim it. Push them together, and you can mock it all up real easy. You can't mock up a threaded fitting because you have to put it all together, and the only way you can put it together is to thread it in, make it permanent. Well, it's not permanent. You can unthread it. But here you can mock it all up real nice. It's like, okay, that's perfect length. You see me adjust a couple times and then you crimp it. But the way I had to do it before was I did do exactly that. I mocked up the whole system, put all the ends on it, and then I sent these all back to Red Horse to have them crimp them there themselves because they didn't have that hand crimper. But now we got the hand crimper. So that's super cool. And now this is a really good line. Much cleaner. I like it much better. Much cleaner, much betterer. And then we will put that on there. Now I'm gonna, so I can get the fittings on there, I'm not gonna put that line on just yet, but I am gonna put it right here so I remember which one it is. We can go on there, and a lot of times I'll mark the lines where they go. This one actually is pretty obvious because it's cannot, one line would be really long if it was there, and the other line wouldn't fit at all. So actually it's not that big a deal, but it's really hard to get on the wrench. You kind of have to tighten these up in order. Let's test fit the pan so we can see if these fit. And then these are going quite, oh boy. So we got to see how this is all going to line up here. This thing holds quite a bit of oil. It's not meant to hold 16 quarts of oil. If you had 16 quarts of oil in this, that'd be a big problem. So, but it is meant to hold everything that could be in the pan. Remember, dry sump engine. We suck all the oil out of the pan as much as humanly possible, out of the pan, out of the heads. All stays in the tank, stays in that big tank over there. So this is plenty fine, and oil goes towards the back. It's not like we slam on the brakes and everything sloshes forward. These cars don't do that. All right, let RC fix that, and we'll crimp some more lines. All right, so I'll show you how we're actually going to pressure test these. The old gauge here, 0. Well, that's all you're getting. 96. That's what my yeah. Nice. Perfect. Oh, it leaks around here. So that's how you pressure test this. I mean, that's 100 pounds, and it'll go a ton more than that. Probably, I don't know, whatever line's rated for.
Think the crimpings are stronger than the line? It would fail on the hose first.
I would imagine it would it probably would rupture the hose first. If I had to guess.
Sure, someone's done a test on that.
Probably. Alrighty, the Adam LZ Big Block Drift randomly selected customers are going to be sent out their packages. Now, interesting to note, these are all the packages. These are piston and rods. These are just the pistons. Here are the cases All right, they're all laid out because these are the doors that we're sending to Adam LZ, and LZ will put his autograph on here. We'll send them back. We will then put it in there, put your box of your display case box with Adam's signature in your box with your piston or with your piston and rods. Bada bing, bada boom. Get sent to you. Okay, now interesting to note. Now this is going to take just a little while longer. So hold on your horsies, okay? Because we got to send these to Adam. Adam's got to send them back to us. Then we ship them to you. And 5 people, is that right, honey?
Yes.
5 people are international. International people. One from, where were they from, hon? Australia, Germany, Great Britain. 5 people from those 3 countries. That's pretty good. So we're sending this things out. It is coming. All right, back to the video. Well, we're rushing around on this thing because I'm trying to get this video out tonight.
You can say it's my fault too.
No, it's my fault because Nate told me he had to go at 5, and he's stretching it out to 5:30. It looks like.
Yep.
But and I forgot. He told me that. So we've made a bunch of temporary lines here. So this is basically, this is from the pump that normally goes to the cooler. Now we'll talk about that later. But this is what regardless, no cooler, no anything. This thing has never gone over 60 pounds of idle pressure, cold. Doesn't matter what it is. 60 pounds, that's pretty much it. So just bypass this so I could show you the pressure regulator right here. I've not adjusted it, so I'm not even sure where it's at. It's a flow through, but it bypasses whatever pressure extra, bypasses to here, and goes right back into the filter, and then we just go through the tank again. So very nice little setup there. I got to mount the tank. The bottom lines are a total cluster cuss. Not happy with those at all, so I'm going to really have to figure out how to make this all fit and happen, especially down there. Up here is no big deal. I'm going to put this in line probably right here somewhere, make a nice little run over line. So this literally just goes in line. That's not a big deal. And so we're going to put in the old Smoil. I think it's all hooked up here. Now it's just running on gasoline, so it literally is just only going to idle and just do, you know, like 2,500 RPM if I wanted to. Basically, if we can make it make 100 pounds of oil pressure idling, and that can maybe go up, that'll be interesting. If it makes like I said, anything, it's never makes more than 60, 65 cold startup. So it has 2 times the oil pump, 2 pumps. There's no possible way this it can't pump more oil. It has to. Just got done adding the Smoil. Oh, it even sounds good. I just added Smoil. Anyways, the best oil in the known universe. Just saying. I even had to put, you want to put these fuel lines over there? Even these fuel lines were in the way. There's nothing that wasn't in the way.
Line is
the 220 pounds oil pressure is a little excessive. Okay, literally. So we're gonna have to turn that down. I'm not even sure how it made that much because it's only got a 200 psi gauge in it.
Do you want to put a digital gauge on it or no?
Huh?
Do you want to put a digital gauge?
No, this is the gauge that's at the back of the engine. So when I say back of the engine, that means that it is all the way through the lifters, through everything. That doesn't feel like it's on anything. There's only one way to hook that. Well, I'd say that's definitely a win. I have to figure out the pressure regulator on it. So it normally idles about 1300 RPM. It's just unhappy because it's cold. But so 1300, that's why I was trying to hold it right there just a little bit. That's 100. So that's perfect. It's never made that much, but it definitely looks like it goes up to 170 or so. So might have to do a little bit of adjustment on this thing to get, because I got a very distinct feeling that we never came up on the regulator yet. But I did move it. Oh no, no, that still all makes sense. So the way this would work is it's not on the regulator yet, so it's just flat out making 100 psi at idle. Because as it revs up, it comes up on the pressure regulator. So I haven't found the top of the regulator yet. That's how this works. Okay. So, all right. Holy crud. 2 pumps for 1 engine. That's 100 pounds. I'm positive that now is going to be hot. There's no reason why this thing isn't going to make. And I can change the actual speed of the pump, because the one thing I didn't tell you is I slowed the pump down. So I thought, I'll show you here real quick. I slowed the pump down because I had the pump sped up. So this is the pump gear that I took off of it. This is the gear I put on it. So this is a 25, this is a 21. So it's 4 teeth smaller. So I slowed the oil pump down because I knew it was going to make more. I said, it just has to. There's 2 pumps, okay? So it has to make more oil pressure, more oil volume. So I thought I better just slow it down, and I can always speed it back up. So I could definitely speed it back up and then make it come up against the regulator. But holy cow. Anyways, we got to close this video off because Nate's got to go. So that's where we're at. We replumbed the water. That's all nice, and because it took some time to do it. The oil pressure, absolutely, positively, 2 pumps. Appreciate the guys at Peterson. Appreciate the guys at Red Horse. Peterson pump. Whoop. And man, yeah, it's gonna make it. But when it first started up idling with that pressure regulator down, it was making all the pressures. I think it's just the proper regulator setting, proper pump speed that I'm going to change to make. I want to have it just like all the time, because I'm fine with 150 pounds of oil pressure. It really doesn't matter. Believe it or not, get your panties all bunched up. You can run these things a couple hundred psi oil pressure. Doesn't really do anything except find leaks. Okay, because it keeps on going. You know, as it gets hot, it swells and all that other stuff. But I'd be happy with like 120 to 150, and I think it probably super hot. I don't think I'm ever going to get it to be super hot, 200-degree oil temperature and idling to 1300 RPM at 100. That might be a little overly optimistic, but I think I'm going to try. Even though I'd be plenty happy with 50. I mean, that'd be astronomical, because we're down to 15 to 20. So I just like to be more, but that definitely positively works. It's just a bugger getting it plumbed up. All right, I'm Steve Morris. You are
Nate.
Nate, camera guy. Yeah, he was in here. Have a great day. Leave a comment.